What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we will be extending upon the deep dive series by including the Pokemon known as Sceptile. So hopefully your community day went very well. I personally was able to evolve up to 15 Sceptiles to get that exclusive move, Frenzy Plant, along with a couple of shinies as well, but I want to know how you did. Definitely let me know in the comments section below. But in today's episode, we will be talking about how good Sceptile is from a rating perspective, from a PvP perspective, should you unlock a secondary charge move, should you power it up, and then of course so much more. If you are new to the series, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If it is helpful, hit that like button, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Sceptile, with a max AP of 2,757, Sceptile is a pure grass-type Pokemon. If we take a look at the stats, its best stat is its attack stat, ranked out at 73rd, and attack stat of 223. Its worst stat being its stamina, ranked out at 202nd, with an overall ranking in Pokemon Go of 105. In relation to the moveset, we do have quite a wide variety. Yes, go ahead and check that out, quite a bit to choose from, but if you are looking for the ideal moveset, you definitely want to use Bullet Seed and Frenzy Plant, and then for the secondary charge move, you could go with Aerial Ace or Earthquake. It's definitely a little bit of a toss-up. So what is going on with Sceptile? This is one of the Pokemon that was definitely the most highly anticipated Pokemon of 2019. We thought it was going to definitely outdo Venusaur, take over that #1 grass type spot, but there was trouble on the horizon because of two Pokemon specifically. One of them being Breloom. It ended up getting an exclusive move during an event where it gained access to Grass Knot, propelling it very high into the grass typing, and then Roserade ended up getting a new move added in with Grass Knot. Now, if you are not familiar with Roserade and you check out the stats, you will see that it does have a much higher attack stat than Sceptile. It has an attack stat of 243, so it is 20 points higher than Sceptile. But to begin with, Roserade only had access to Solar Beam, so even then, we all thought that Sceptile would still take over that #1 spot, but there were so many other plans, unfortunately, with Roserade getting Grass Knot, moving Sceptile down to the 2nd spot, and that kind of showcases in the rating. If we go ahead and check out the rating versus a Groudon, you will see that what's going to end up happening is Roserade does take over that #1 spot, even outpacing a Kyogre, a Mewtwo, and then of course so much more. If you scroll down to the 7th spot, you will see the Sceptile in there, in at the #7 spot. But does that mean that Sceptile is automatically doomed versus Roserade? Well, here's kind of a weird situation going on. You have to remember that these Pokemon are two different typings. You have Roserade being a grass poison type, while Sceptile is a pure grass type. So there are certain situations where it would make sense that Sceptile would have the advantage based on the typing, but even in those situations, Sceptile is still not able to outperform against Roserade except in one scenario, and that is versus a Starmie level 3 raid boss. You will see that Sceptile does overtake Roserade by 1 second, which is not that big of a deal. Then to make it worse, it's not even the #1 spot. There are better options to use against Starmie. So even in that case, when it wins, it still doesn't win. It's a very odd situation, but the reason why it was able to excel in this case was because of the move Fury Cutter getting super effective damage. Bullet Seed is actually not that great of a move, but to be honest, it didn't really showcase itself until this kind of situation ended up occurring. If Sceptile were to get a new quick move that was a better grass type, it could definitely lower the gap, but even then, I still don't think it's going to be able to outpace a Roserade. So as far as from a rating perspective goes, it's unfortunate, but it is going to hang out at that #2 spot, potentially #3, kind of like neck and neck with Breloom. So that's unfortunate just because it is a Community Day exclusive Pokemon. It's also a starter. Unfortunately, the cards just were not at play for it. And then to make things worse on the PvP side, it still gets outpaced by some other grass type Pokemon. Like a Pokemon like Venusaur, it's going to work so much better in a lower league like the Great League. And then as you move up, there are still going to be better options than Sceptile. Sceptile is just a little bit too much of a glass cannon, and then by the time it makes it up to the Masters League, it just gets outcompeted by so many other options. So definitely unfortunate. This was a Pokemon that I thought had a lot of potential, was going to definitely take the game by storm, but it ended up getting outpaced via raids. It's outpaced via PvP. So should you power it up? Well, to be honest, the only way that I would say that you should power it up like 100% is if you have a lack of Sinnoh Stones and you're not able to get a higher level Roserade, then yes, Sceptile is going to easily be the best option. And then as far as unlocking a secondary charge move, that's something that I'm going to opt for you to not do. I don't really see too much of a benefit, except maybe in PvP it could provide a little bit of coverage. So you do have Aerial Ace and Earthquake, but regardless, I don't think people are going to really discuss that, mostly because it's only 10,000 Stardust to unlock that secondary charge move. So it doesn't need a super deep discussion like a Pokemon that costs 100,000, 75,000, 50,000. 10,000 is much meager, so you can definitely decide to do that on your own. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. It is very unfortunate for Sceptile, but is it going to prevent you from using Sceptile? I personally love the design. I like how it plays. I love watching it battle. So I'm personally going to probably still use it, but I want to know if you are. Definitely let me know in the comments section below. Are you Team Roserade? Are you Team Sceptile? Definitely let me know, and I will see you next time. I wanted to extend a huge thank you to the supporters over at Patreon. You definitely make this possible, and I 100% appreciate this support. If you are interested in supporting my channel on Patreon, definitely feel free to check out the link in the description.